Combat Patrol, issues 27, 28, and 29. Feeling the need for speed with the Wind Riders. Hello and welcome to The Lucky Roll, an eclectic channel for eclectic games, and today we're going to be doing issues 27, 28 and 29 of Hachette Collection's Combat Patrol and looking at the minis that come with the three of them. Now, these were 6 kind of jet bikes spread out over 3 issues, which was, to be honest, a little bit irksome because it felt like that they were fluffing it out a little bit. But nevertheless, this is what you get over the 3 issues. So in issue 27, you get the How to Build guide. Now, the issue 27 is the only one that comes with the actual build instructions. So if you're buying it out of sequence, you might need to look up how to build them online. It has the how to build and how to paint different techniques using the shades that you got in the previous issues. It also talks about different warriors of the Eldar. So you have the aspect warriors, which are basically parts of the Eldar that devote themselves solely to the worship or the path of Cain and to fighting. So you have the Dire Avengers, which would be kind of highly mobile and versatile. You have the Shining Spears, which would work on jet bikes. You have the Warp Spiders, which are very brave because they kind of travel in between the warp, they teleport in and out. You have the Howling Banshees, which would be melee specialists whose helmets would kind of allow them to scream like banshees. You have the Striking Scorpions, which are kind of expert hunters. You have the Fire Dragons, which would be kind of anti-armor specialists. And you have the Dark Reapers, which are basically expert snipers. So these are all different aspects of the Eldar. And you have the Swooping Hawks, of course, which are named for the birds in ancient Eldar mythology, which kind of swoop over and hunt down the guilty. And you have, of course, the Crimson Hunters, which are kind of basically the Air Corps. You also have here the core rules set, so it gives you the introduction to the core rules and different aspects of Combat Patrol. And it shows you kind of basically Strike Force Octavius and the Verdengast Swarm, so using the models that you have gotten so far. So that's issue 27. It also comes with some data sheets. So as you can see here, you have data sheets for Chaos. Now these are models you're going to be getting in the future. So you got the Dark Apostle, you've got some of the Legionaries, you've got the Havocs, and you've got the Hellbrute, which should be a very interesting model to get. You also have the data sheets here, so you've got the Farseer, you've got the Guardian Defenders, you've got the Wind Riders and the Wraithlord, and you also have kind of terrain here, along with kind of different rules or abilities that you can have to play for it. So issue 27 comes with a couple of interesting little things. It also comes with 2 of these models. Issue 28 comes with the second 2 of these models, and in this one you get basically a lot more lore. You've got the Hosts of the Dead, so basically, as was kind of said before with the Wraith Knight, they use the Wraith Knight suits to kind of if an Eldar dies, it goes into a Spirit Stone, and they can use that Spirit Stone to kind of host some of their previous warriors. Now, there's an interesting bit of lore here that these are not machines, and they're not kind of Eldar cyber organic hybrids either. They're kind of spirit based, so they would have a Spirit Seer along with a Wraith Guard that would help the Wraith Knights, because they're not seeing things through the prism of sensors or through the prisms of actual kind of way we would see things. They see it in through kind of a spirit world aspect. You also have here the Drukhari, which would be, if I didn't want to be, if there was the last crowd in anything I'd want to be captured by in 40k universe, would be the Drukhari. Basically, these are the Dark Eldar. They're the ones that fell to Slaanesh, or not fell to Slaanesh, but fell to their base desires and have just turned torture and kind of flesh crafting and all sorts of evil things into an actual art form. They're the freakiest and most horrible kind of gits going. They make frequent raids into real space. So they live in a place called Camorra, which is in a webway, which is kind of hidden from real space, and it's a port where they just kind of have turned it into a mass torture factory. But they always need victims, so they go out into real space, they raid, they take a load of people and kind of take them back. And they also have an uneasy alliance with the Eldar. Now, this is one of the reasons I don't like the Eldar too much, because the Eldar would have more in common with the Drukhari than they would with any other alien race. So despite the fact that the Drukhari are beyond evil, they would still side with them over us, if you know what I mean. So again, I don't like them. No, they don't trust the Drukhari either, but they have enough in common that they will team up with each other sometimes, despite the fact that the Drukhari are just insane. You have Warzone Bastior, which is a nice little bit of lore going on about the Fourth Tyranid War and how the Imperium basically used it as a massive fight to kind of try to keep back the tendrils, and you have some of the actual major players in the story here. You also have the Horus Heresy, which is again a fantastic series of books and a really good, fun story. You can get an awful lot of lore masters on YouTube that would kind of synopsize it for you, but it's an incredible story. Some of the better guys to kind of listen to for lore stories would be like, say, Luton09, who would kind of do a great little synopsis of it. And it just gives you a kind of an idea of what set up the 40k universe. You have Bonds of Honor, part 7 of the actual story, and you have here, of course, the Wind Riders, which are part of the models that you get, the data sheet for them, and some more core concepts for the play for the actual game, and of course the outline of the actual battle round. So that was issue 28. And issue 29, of course, will come with the last two of these, and would have again some more lore and also how to paint. So this one is the one that has the how to paint guide in it, and as you can see, you'd have a few paints at this stage, so you'll be able to get a good bit into it. It goes a little bit more into the actual Drukhari themselves. So we've seen the Eldari. The Drukhari here basically tells you what sort of soldiers or things they have there. So they'd be all Cabals, Cults, and Covens. So the Cabals are basically the lowest ranking soldiers, but even the lowest ranking soldier is kind of entitled to the protection of the rest of the Cabalite. So they, instead of being kind of cannon fodder, a lot of them are trying to get into it. You have the witch cults, which are just kind of basically warrior athletes, which would kind of work in the gladiatorial pits in Camorra and would often go out in raids. You have the homunculus covens, which are horrible. Basically, they're flesh terrors and masters. So basically, they would kind of extract the life essence from the prisoners and use it as sustenance or a resource. In some cases, they can even bring back some Drukhari members of the dead using the life force of slain prisoners. So in Drukhari society, they're very important, but they're still kind of icky and creepy. You have Camorra itself, which is basically a port in the webway, which is just a big, huge torture factory. And you have the Absurgerile Vecht, which is kind of the leader of them all. Now, he's not in charge out of strength, he's more in charge out of guile. He's constantly manipulating the lower aspects of the Cabals to undermine each other and kind of hurt each other all the time. You have the High Spires, so you would have basically Drukhari that are up there, and the Scourges, which would fly down. You have the Raidcraft Workshops, so this is what they would kind of raid real space with. You have the Elendrach, which is where the base of at the base of Camorra is where they would kind of lie, and they're kind of mandrakes and kind of screwed up kind of Drukhari. And you have the gladiatorial arenas, which is kind of the lifeblood of the entire thing. You also have here the command phase, so some more of the actual core rules and the Wind Riders and how to use them in a kind of a scenario so that you get good with them, and of course the next issues of Combat Patrol. So with no further ado, let's have a look at the actual bikes themselves. Now, these were pretty cool little things. I got a little sick of making them after the 6th one, so towards the end it had become a little bit of a chore, but initially at the start they were unique enough and novel enough that I did kind of enjoy them. You have different kind of weapons here, so the way the instructions would go was that you would kind of make you'd make four double shuriken. You would make 4 of these double shuriken kind of cannons, and you would make, I believe, 2 of these, but I opted to kind of just do 2 of each. So again, they were fun models to make. It was the same thing over and over, essentially. There was some deviation with the shoulder pads. Some had the little kind of the soul stones here in the shoulder, and some did not. And of course you can see as well, the front of the actual jet bikes were different. They were easy enough to make, easy enough to build, a bit flimsy even now whilst I'm just putting them on the actual the stands. They I didn't glue them down because I will take them off the stands to kind of carry them and use them if in combat patrols in the future. But they do look cool. They do have a nice kind of speed aspect to them, you know. I mean, there is a kind of a, they look cool on the tabletop and they look fast, they look deadly. So I am kind of quite happy with how they came out. Again, simple enough to assemble, but you will, after the 6th one, have had enough of kind of painting them. Again, slight deviation between them, mainly in the actual weapons underneath, which, as you can see, there's 2 of the different weapon types here, and the last one, I believe, is here. So as you can see, there's kind of different weapons aspects that you can kind of put in for them if you want to be that pedantic about it. But if you're just looking at them as normal models, you're not really going to see the weapon underneath, and most people who you will play with are more than happy to kind of let you, you know, use, you could have a shuriken cannon there, but pretend that it's a laser shuriken instead, if you know what I mean, as long as that they're kind of within reason. That's really all I have to say about them. They were cool to make, but yeah, after the 6th one I'd had enough. I'm in no rush to make any more, but now that I have them, I think they are pretty cool. And you know, the Eldar Combat Patrol is a pretty cool one. They stand out. There's a nice color scheme to them. So if you are getting the Combat Patrol magazine to pick up the Eldar, I think you will be doing well with this. As always, if you enjoy these videos, please like, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. And until next time, this is Sean, signing off.